Hi everybody and welcome to Cultivation with yours truly. My name is Cassie McLaren. I'm a psychic medium based out of Colorado, and today I have a March 2020 astrology update for you. So in these videos I like to just go over the astrology of the upcoming month, let you know what to expect so that you can work with the energies in your own way. So March is a pretty good month, nothing too insane happening. We do have some interesting things happening though, some things that are sparking a little bit of a feeling of new beginnings in our life. So going into the month, we're still working with this Mercury retrograde, mostly in Pisces. So this feeling of kind of our thinking and our communication going backwards, rethinking, revising, re-editing, reworking this Pisces energy around our dreams, our intuition, our emotional state, maybe creative projects, things of that nature. On the 4th of March, however, Mercury going backwards during its retrograde backs up into the sign right before Pisces, which is Aquarius. So Mercury was already in Aquarius, already did some work there, but now that he's going backwards, he kind of backs up into that Aquarian energy again. So this Aquarian energy, especially when we have Mercury here and Mercury retrograde here, we're again rethinking, reflecting upon Aquarian themes. Aquarian themes are rebellion, community, being your unique self within a larger collective, really respecting individuality, kind of fighting for rights, being a little bit out there, maybe technology, intelligence, the future. These are all things that have to do with Aquarian energy. So having Mercury going retrograde and backing up into this Aquarian energy brings us to me, my read on it is that it's a little bit existential. We're rethinking what our future might look like. This can also be exciting too. I mean, if you maybe thought that you had to do something and now you're going back and rethinking over it and thinking, well, maybe that doesn't have to be my future. Maybe it can be something different. Maybe something radically different, something freeing, something that gives me freedom. This can be an exciting thing as well. It doesn't have to just be existential. But for me, of course, the first thing, I'm an Aquarius rising. So the first thing I think of when I think of Mercury kind of going back through this sign is existentialism. I can be pretty existential. Just really thinking about what the future holds. Reworking the groups and the communities that you're a part of. Thinking about what innovation means to you, what kind of genius do you have within yourself? Can you kind of excavate that a little bit? Kind of working with those types of themes, and of course Mercury is going to move direct on the 9th when we have our full supermoon in Virgo. I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but we do have something happening in the middle of those two things. On the 5th, we have Venus, which is the archetypal energy of what we value, what we love, its beauty, its kind of sensory pleasure. Venus is going into her home sign of Taurus. So this is just a beautiful, beautiful energy. This is like one of my favorite types of energies, Venus and Taurus. It's sensual. It's, if you think about all your 5 senses, what do you love to taste and smell and feel? Maybe the sun on your skin and a warm, fresh spring strawberry in your mouth, soft blankets in the morning and, indulgence in things, flowers, things are going to start blooming soon. There's this beauty that's going to start to happen. So having Venus and Taurus here really moves our energy from a place of, well, Venus was just in Aries. So Venus in Aries is kind of a make love and war. It's a little feisty. It's a little bit, I really like you for a second. Let's like dive into this. Oh, actually, I don't really like you. I'm going to move on to this thing. It's initiation. It's fiery. So we're moving from a place of kind of valuing ourself and our individualistic kind of us doing our own thing and kind of doing it with excitement or eagerness. We're moving into valuing more of a slower paced, rooted, beautiful, maybe even more committed type of space. We're valuing those. Taurus also rules money, so kind of getting a little bit right with our finances. You know, tax season is coming up, or I guess it is tax season, but taxes are due soon, so everybody's kind of starting to look into that if they haven't already. So getting money matters right. But yeah, it's just a really beautiful, really good energy. I love Venus and Taurus. Then on the 9th, like I said, we have Mercury going direct in Aquarius. So instead of moving backwards, he's going to station direct in Aquarius and then start to move forward. Back over Aquarius, then back through Pisces, all the places that he's already been. He's moved forward through a certain degree of Pisces and then went backwards into Aquarius, now going backwards through the same degrees, and then will eventually move on. And my camera just got blurry. I wonder why that was. I'm doing a lot of like hand stuff today, so maybe. But yeah, so we have on the 9th a full supermoon in Virgo as well. So supermoon just means that the moon is a little bit extra potent. It's not quite an eclipse. It doesn't have that big, massive kind of 6 month to a year impact. It's not part of a bigger story, but a supermoon is a little bit more potent. So, you know, as far as setting your intentions go, I do feel like this has a little bit more like oomph and energy to do that. So this would be, you know, a good time to do a little bit of releasing since it is a full moon. So Virgo is the sign of discernment. It's the energy of efficiency, being detail oriented, really getting things done right, not really letting anything fall through the cracks. It can also relate to health, your physical health, service, you know, doing things for other people. How are you serving using your own gifts, things of that nature. Very grounded. It's an earth sign. There is the ability to have more of a rooted way to manifest. So we're maybe releasing in this full moon ways in which our manifestations are maybe a little wishy-washy, maybe not really fully detailed or really meant to last. We're wanting to kind of shift that and change that, release anything that keeps us from that. We're also kind of looking with Mercury stationing direct on this exact day. It also gives a feeling of really like getting into the nooks and crannies and kind of like spring cleaning the psyche or the thinking mind and even the communication areas. So kind of getting in there with your little toothbrush and like scrubbing the baseboards of your mind, and especially where you do get maybe when you do get a little bit caught in the bigger picture rather than the details, because Virgo really does ask us to focus on the details. But we also want to find balance there, and if we're focused too much on the details, with this full moon in Virgo, we can take this energy to release any ways in which we can get too stuck. So it's kind of double there. Where are we not really looking at the details, and how can we flush that out so we can focus? And where are we, too caught on this one thing that happened in the process, or the one little speck of dirt on the baseboard? Where are we too focused, and how can we maybe release that a little bit so we're not kind of crippled by it? We also, with that Mercury there, stationing on that Aquarius point, we're starting to think and move and communicate forward in that direction. And it does start in that Aquarius energy. So looking forward to the future, forward thinking, futuristic thinking, and processing and communication, talking about the ways in which we're going to build new communities or collectives. There can be a sense of discovery, especially when we're kind of spring cleaning the brain like that, getting through some of our stuff that we've been hoarding up there, especially the things that we've been looking through and parsing through over the retrograde. We're kind of ready to get rid of them and get them out of the house. So then on the 20th, we have the sun going into Aries from Pisces. So this is springtime. It's the equinox. It is, well, in the northern hemisphere. It's the equinox. We are going from the death and emotional dissolving and energetic allness and expansive nebulousness, really dreaminess, creativity of Pisces. We're moving from that into Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. It's initiating, it's fiery, it's exciting. It's like it's going from death to birth, essentially. Pisces is kind of where you die. Aries is where you're born. It's the sign of the self. It is eagerness and excitement and wanting to begin things. So, everybody's going to want to be going out and planting their vegetables and being in the sun and getting ready to really welcome back this sense of birth. When the sun goes in Aries, that's kind of actually when I like to see like my own personal new year. I feel like whatever theme for the year usually kind of comes in around Aries season for me. So the first couple months of the year, I feel like I'm kind of still in the energy of the last year. And then once springtime comes, I think that I get kind of like a good layout of the energy of the next year, or, the next cycle until next Aries season. Then on the 22nd, we have Saturn going into Aquarius from Capricorn. This is pretty important. Saturn takes a little bit longer to get through each sign. So it'll be here for, I believe, a little bit over 2 years. But actually, I think it'll be actually a little bit closer to 3 years. I think 2023 is when we're going to get Saturn out of Aquarius. So about 2 years. This time around, it feels a little bit longer because we're having a Saturn retrograde happening in May. So Saturn will go into Aquarius on the 22nd and kind of give us a little bit of a taste of what that energy is going to look like before he goes retrograde in May and pretty much stays retrograde throughout the rest of 2020 until December. And as he turns retrograde, he will go back into Capricorn, where he's been for the last few years. So this Saturn and Capricorn energy we're very familiar with because that's what we've had, that's what we've been dealing with. Saturn is also at home in the sign of Capricorn. They're pretty much the same energy. So we've talked a lot about Saturn if you've been, watching and following me. It's all about structure. It's about karma and time and restrictions and saying no. It's the obstacle, it's the limitation, it's the hard work before you can go outside and play. It's the grit that you have to put in to really build something that lasts. Saturn is considered a malefic because he's a little bit hard to deal with. It can be a little depressing. Saturn and Capricorn have been on the South Node, so we've been releasing and just really purging, and so it's had kind of a depressing tint to it the past couple of years. But as soon as Saturn gets into Aquarius, not only does Saturn leave the South Node, so we're not really focused so much on purging all of our structures and our status and our jobs and our karma and our government comminglings and things like that. We're gonna move a little bit out of that, so Saturn can escape that south node, that purging, into a sign that's very different from Capricorn, in my opinion. Now, Saturn is the old ruler of Aquarius, which is where Saturn is going into. The new ruler of Aquarius in modern astrology is Uranus, which I personally like that a little bit better, just because to me, Aquarians are, I mean, again, I'm an Aquarius rising. My mom is like mostly Aquarius. I know a few other ones. We do kind of, like a little bit of like some structure and stuff at times, which is a very Saturn thing, but it's more about a sense of like wanting to break free, wanting to be unique, wanting to kind of let your freak flag fly. Again, thinking about the future, what's next, what can we innovate? And of course, Saturn helps us build for the future. We want to have structure so that whatever comes in the future, we can build and solidify. But Aquarius is also the collective. So it's a little bit, it's wanting to kind of take that collective and bring it with us into the future and have it set up. So, thinking about some themes around this, technology, having technology be more of the ruling structure in our world rather than, say, the government or a boss. Saturn's kind of like the boss, the person or the entity that gives you tasks. You have to do this, you have to do this. You have to clean your room, you have to pay your taxes, you have to get stuff done for work. It's this kind of you have to do energy. Whereas Aquarius is kind of like, we want to break free, and technology, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. Give me a moment. My head's in kind of a weird space because I'm getting over a cold, and I feel like I have like NyQuil head, where, when your head feels like it's a giant balloon. So yeah, Saturn is kind of the top-down delegation, whereas Aquarius is this kind of, it's the stirring and the collective. It's wanting to have change from the bottom up. So seeing more protests, acts of rebellion in that sense. The people wanting to be the ones who are delegating and controlling. However, the collective is a hard thing to shrink down into something that can be a taskmaster. So technology here really steps into to condense the collective into something else. I'm not sure if this is making any sense. But if you think about it, like automation. So automation is a pretty certain thing at this point. The way that I'm seeing and reading things, I could be totally wrong, but it does seem like automation and technology, those things are just going to keep steamrolling. They're not going to slow down. We're just going to keep advancing and advancing and advancing. And that is going to eventually kind of take the place as the taskmaster or the delegator. And what's nice about that, when you have Saturn there, when you have Capricorn there, it's kind of like, it reminds me of like a businessman or a business person who just tells you what to do, or like your dad who just tells you what to do. But Aquarius, it's kind of like, well, we collectively have built this technology. This technology can sit here and do the thing that we need it to do. We can control that as a collective. That can do the thing. We now have a little bit of time, freedom, and space to innovate or create or continue to plan for the future, continue to improve life for the collective. So yeah, and this is kind of the beginning of the Aquarian age. We're going to start to get a lot of different outer planets moving into the sign of Aquarius, and they're going to stay there for a while. So we're getting out of the age of Pisces, and the age of Pisces is one of, it's religion, it's things unseen, really giving our our hope and our trust into, you know, a god or something that we can't really touch, something that's out there, something that can't really be known. You know, the world's so big and scary and crazy that we can't really know it. And that's been like, I think the last 2,000 years that we've been in that Pisces energy. So now we're moving to the age of Aquarius, restructuring through our community, building what is going to carry us into and through the future, to the future and beyond, essentially. And then eventually Saturn's going to station and start to go retrograde in May, and he'll go back into Capricorn, and we'll be kind of doing one last sweep to make sure that we've learned the lessons of Capricorn, learned the lessons of Saturn. But this is going to give us a little bit of a taste, the Saturn and Aquarius period, of what's to come, what is new for us, where we're going to start to place our hard work. Then we have on the 24th a new moon in Aries. So this is just a normal new moon, but it's a really, I think it's a really nice one. It's kind of like the newest of new moons, if you will. Aries is, of course, like I said, the first sign of the zodiac. It's fresh, it's new, it's birth, it's initiation. You know, let's go, let's do something new, let's have a new beginning. We're breaking through the coldest, iciest deadness of winter, and we're sprouting up there with our first little, like, green little sprout. And then also I guess a thing of note here, so Mars, who rules Aries, is going to still be in Capricorn at this time when we have this new moon. So we're still kind of in a place of wanting to put a lot of energy into working really hard and laying down specific structures in our own personal life, like new structures. What's the, like I was kind of saying with the Saturn and Aquarius, what's the new structure in my personal life that's going to take me into the future? But Capricorn still is on the South Node, so Mars will be chilling on the South Node. So it's more, even though it's a new moon, there is a feeling of release there because we have the ruler of the energy of the new moon on the South Node. So it's kind of just about just throwing away the old stuff, just taking the past and like crumpling it up and throwing it away, and really just like breaking through to this new initiation and knowing and having hope that things can and will be different. That is the only certainty in life, is that things are going to change and they're going to be different. So you just got to keep riding those waves. And this Aries energy gives us a feeling of excitement that total change is possible and a little bit inevitable. I think a lot of us have been really, really wanting that change. And then last but not least, on the 30th, we have Mars going from Capricorn, there on that South Node, putting energy and effort into, hard work, business, structure, things of that nature, into putting more energy and taking action when it comes to communities, the collective, people, technology, maybe getting a new meetup group going, or trying to find more people who are like you, putting more energy into feeling a little bit more unique, like maybe changing the way that you look, changing the way that you do things that has its own unique fingerprint there that is very unique to you. Also, there is a sense when we have Mars in Aquarius, it can bring a little bit of aggression to the collective. So, anything from protests and riots in specific places to kind of like pushing away the things in your life that are currently kind of controlling or delegating. So if you have like a really difficult boss, there can be a sense of like, really wanting to like push against that. Or, you know, if you have a parent that's extra harsh on you, wanting to be free of that feeling of rebelliousness, wanting to act on rebellion, wanting to break free, but also wanting to find new networks, new communities, new things to learn, new things to think about, new things to innovate. There's a feeling of putting action towards your own unique genius. So overall, March has got a lot of kind of outward action-oriented energy, so I'm pretty excited to see what comes of that. Hopefully this video was helpful. I feel like I was all over the place with it, but again, I kind of have like sick head. Lots of stuff has been happening here, so I'm discombobulated, but I am getting this video in, damn it. I don't care that it's Mercury retrograde. We're doing it. I'll see you guys back here soon for another juicy video. Hopefully one that is more in the energetic realm rather than just astrology. But we will see what my schedule allows for this next month. Thanks for listening. Love you so much and hope you have a great March.